everybody. Welcome to the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Tilford, joined by Ash Millman.
Whoa, this
I'm
is
switching
a new way.
things up. Done the glorious day.
Hello, everyone.
And joined by Ewan Patterson.
Hello.
Usually we go left and right, but why not do something different for the people that are watching on the video?
Take it to the left if you're having a good time.
Exactly. And so, yes, we kind of thought we would break down some of the biggest projects that we're looking forward to for the rest of 2019 in this weird post-Christmas limbo where nothing is happening
In the Monday of all months.
Yeah, and it is. It's that weird sort of
Sorry
period.
for all January babies, but...
It's just the industry will resume when Resident Evil 2 is out, and that's not until the 25th. So, in the spirit of all those things, we've each got 3 games that we're looking forward to, and we've still got some little tidbits as to what proves them, or it'll just be things that we really want to see return.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about franchises that should come back in 2019. So, I will open with Bully 2. Because Bully is going to be Rockstar's next game.
I don't care about Bully.
Oh, you do?
No, I'm happy that it's coming for people who love bullying.
Huge fan.
And, doing it in a game where they are a bald-headed bully.
Yes.
But that's not a thing that I enjoy. I get that it's a cult classic and like more people.
You did play it?
Yeah, I did.
Right, good.
But there are other things I think Rockstar do better, and there is something very weird to me about grown men writing dialogue about a bully in high. It's weird. I don't like it. I don't know.
Did you play it?
I played bits of it. I never played it all the way through.
Okay, so Bully's like one of my for me it's one of my favorite Rockstar games, and I think the whole thing that blew up at the time with like, oh, you're playing a bully and you're just gonna kick people in. That wasn't at all what it was.
No, exactly. I know
so that was the inversion of that was why that game worked so well, and actually fitting in with the different cliques in high school. Very comic booky, very like Saturday morning cartoon, very Recess approach to the depiction of high school.
That's a good point.
Which I loved, and so I thought that was really good. But I am interested to see how they would even do it again, because you're going to have a game about high school combat and all that kind of stuff with 4K visuals and realistic interpretations of different people. And I don't know how much I trust Rockstar scribes, like you said, to do youthful dialogue. It could be very what's happening.
I'm seeing this being like some sort of awkward South Park-esque. Like, look at all these millennials. And then that'll be
back it. I just want.
I'd probably be fine with that. But it depends how much they lean into it. But yeah, either way, the reason that I mentioned this was because a whole bunch of Bully 2 concept art leaked from someone who claimed to be a Rockstar insider. And we're not going to get too much into the info of each of these games, but it showed like a way more cartoonish approach, a way more like stylistic kind of thing with elongated, more over-the-top faces. Looked a bit like the artwork for Dishonored. That you've kind of got those more caricatured kind of faces and stuff. And I kind of thought that's the only way they could do it, because then they get away from all the, oh my God, they're trying to tell children to go kill people style reactionary news headlines.
But there was the few Bully Easter eggs in Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. So we had the Canem edit revolver that you get for doing all the Legends of the Old West stuff. And then you had an achievement for, it was like Endless Summer or something for completing 100% in the game, which is a callback to a thing from Bully. So yeah, it looks
they've been seeding this.
I think this is definitely coming. It's either next year or in the typical Rockstar fashion.
I guess actually, in terms of it being like a 2019 release.
We're looking at like a games as a service thing with Rockstar now these days, so you've probably got to contemplate this next Bully factoring into, how do we get Bully online out of it or something like that.
I guess in terms of the way that we're sort of categorizing stuff together, it could just be an announcement. It could be something relating to, I just want Bully, all right? That's all I want. I want more Bully.
Want to punch things.
I just want to punch things as a small child. I haven't done it for a while. So, Ewan, what's your game? What do you want?
I'm just going to be typical Ewan back on his BS. I want a new Arkham game this year.
Oh, for the love of God.
I want a new one
Have you not
this
had
year.
enough of Arkham?
No.
And can we do one video where you don't mention Arkham?
No, you may not. No, I'm here.
Go on.
All day.
Yep.
Obviously people know that I wasn't a big fan of Arkham Knight, and I think that's kind of a consensus is slowly building in regards to how Rockstar finished that franchise, and potentially they didn't finish it the best way they could have. And also at the same time, we've kind of seen a reappraisal of what Warner Brothers Montreal did with Arkham Origins. And if you've been keeping up with the detail of the drama surrounding Warner Brothers games, you'll know that a bunch of projects got cancelled like a few years ago. So there was like a Suicide Squad game they were going to do that got canned. There was a Batman Beyond.
I wonder why that was canned.
Yeah, and there was a Batman Beyond-esque style Damian Wayne game that was canned. But the most recent rumor is that they're going to be doing something involving the Court of Owls, which is going to be a sequel to Arkham Origins. And then there is also talk of them potentially doing a Wonder Woman game as well. And then factoring adding that in with the fact that Rocksteady is still doing something of their own at the same time, it kind of seems as though we're waiting for one studio to kind of pull the trigger first. It
makes me curious how much they've had to lay off because of the fact that the DCEU didn't land especially well, and maybe the marketing just wasn't lining up properly, kind of thing. But on your recent rumors one, I think you talked about the Wonder Woman game.
I did. It was based off of Ewan's article. He sent me the little link, like, "Oh, you should add this in," and I did.
I don't recall having that conversation. Yeah. You totally that off your own.
Just leaking
Everyone
rumors.
just seeks out Ewan Patterson's WhatCulture.
Anything comic based.
He's got the knowledge and the knowledge.
He does.
The Wonder Woman game looked really interesting. It sounds really good, and all the concept for it and stuff, and the whole having the Amazonians and then the people on Earth. I mean, I was a swap between them. I think it sounds fantastic. Like, I really want that game. Not so bothered about Arkham, but the what is it? The Light.
Circle of Light. I think its tentative title is, but it's a case of like I think a lot of people are fatigued by Batman currently, and they'd have to. My personal preference would be if they were to return to that IP, they'd do a Batman Beyond style game, with all like the neo noir-esque stuff. Just get the intro back in, the really cool one when they're all dancing in the club, and then get that back in. But if they were just to return to Batman, I'm convinced they would do a good job with it. But I definitely think it's high time, especially with all the Marvel games coming out, the Warner Brothers and DC for that matter, really branch out and try and tap into the potential of that franchise. Otherwise, they're going to get beaten to the punch by Marvel, who have Avengers coming out in.
It is also weird.
And the Wazoo.
Just leaking. But it is also weird that it's the 4th year now, and we've not heard anything. Like other than the leaked stuff. So 2015 was Arkham
6 years since. How long ago? 2015. That was
2015 was Arkham Knight.
So it's been 6 years since Arkham Origins came out. So that's mad.
I don't know. What makes you say you don't want any Arkham things?
I'm
just sick of them.
Personally, no interest in them is the thing. I paid Asylum, and then the rest I was just like, I keep smacking this.
Take that microphone.
Yeah, literally, just karate chop it, batarang.
So did you not finish Arkham Asylum?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't involved in it, which I know is blasphemy.
A little bit.
I know it's a
little bit, mate.
Little bit. But it just did not tick my boxes.
Ash Millman, who'll finish Aliens Colonial Marines, but will not finish Batman Arkham Asylum.
It's a good taste.
The state. It's definitely what it is. Ash, what is your game for 2019, or one of the three?
One of the three that I want.
Yes.
I've no idea if there's any information that can back it up at all. I want Sly Raccoon to come back.
Maybe if you will Sly Raccoon enough.
I want it, no, because it's like they've got there's a film, there's an untitled film that's in the works, it's in development but hasn't come out yet. There is a series that's supposed to come out this year, and a series will go very nicely with a little interactive game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last one was the Vita one, which I do have. I think the last installment in the franchise was the Vita.
It was the
release?
Time Nerds one. Time
Nerds. That's
Nerds.
if they call it Sly Raccoon Time Nerds.
Pretty much nerds. I mean, the turtle was a time nerd.
Yeah,
it was a Time Nerd.
God, I've not played Sly in so long. Bentley, yeah.
I remember that. I remember because I didn't have a PlayStation 2 when I was little. I used to go over to my mates and play Sly, and I was always fascinated by all of them, and that's interesting that they got a new wave of stuff, because that to me implies that Sony are keen on spiking a resurgence of the brand. So potentially you could have just solved the mystery. Sly Raccoon confirmed 2019.
It needs to come.
So many people though, all you need to do is mention it, and so many people know either the visuals, the turtle guy before you know his name, and everyone knows Sly Raccoon, and it's just there's clearly more to do with that franchise. And a movie sounds great. All the characterization, the way the dialogue and the script always was in those games plays perfectly into cartoons and all that kind of stuff.
I am so here for Carmelita Fox. I just love it so much. The shooting police officer. No, I think it's fantastic. I think the whole game, the way it's put together, works really well for a series.
What if they do a new Sly as I think through this?
Donkey Kong.
What if they do a new? He's in the new Mario Kingdom thingy. Anyway, what if they do a new Sly, but they do it like the new Spyro and Crash, where it's just all fully redone, nice gorgeous visuals, but it plays like the old school ones.
I actually don't think they need a remaster at all. I played the PS2 one again recently. I played 1 and 2.
Oh, they've always controlled really well.
Yeah, but just the visuals as well.
The cel-shaded look.
Yeah, it already looks like a comic book sort of game. So there isn't that much chunk to it. There's chunk because there's always chunk on a PS2
always
game.
Chungus.
Sly Chungus.
But oh my god, can we make Sly Chungus, please?
I remember when Sly Cooper first came on, became a thing, because it was oh man, this whole new graphical style. Cell shading's not been in any high profile games for a while, so it kind of would already give itself its own identity.
The only people that really did that recently were Platinum for Transformers Devastation.
Oh, Devastation, yeah. Which was a couple of years ago. Okay, so next up, I'm going to throw Fable into the mix, because we can have a nice little reminisce about Fable.
Chaser.
I thought you were looking apprehensive about it there.
No,
it is me in real life.
I do kind of treat Fable with equal parts apprehension and nostalgic look.
It's full on nostalgia.
There were certain elements of Fable that I really, really loved, and then as I I was there for Fable 3.
Yeah.
For the sadness and disappointment.
Three was
I don't know
bad.
what statement that ending was. It's like, oh, you shagged either way. And that was literally Fable 3 in a nutshell.
I wonder
and
how much
hated it.
like Molyneux and stuff knew, because Lionhead aren't around anymore, and like, I wonder how much he knew that was their last one kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just gonna not so much bow hours fall over, but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But 1 and 2 though, phenomenal.
And I remember Jules speaking about it the other day. The Fable
Fable Legends was the
that
one
sounded
that-
brilliant. The idea of you being able to be like a sort of dungeon master and plan these things for your friends to take on. I thought that was really cool. And I mean, if they're gonna do Fable again, they need to make it. They need to get the nostalgia right. They need to get it. Have all the corny dialogue and
that's
whole
the thing, because like
Bigamy Simulator 2020 or something.
Well, God,
100%. It needs loads of porking. Like,
Yeah,
it needs one.
it's maximum pork, and you need to have about 7 wives, and you need to be
Yeah.
able to equip condoms to make sure you don't have any
Yeah,
children.
and have your celery so you can. It's all good.
One of my favourite things in Fable is that you can just do the can regardless of how much you've just massacred half a town. You just sort of do a bit of a dance, and then some guy's like, he's actually all right, isn't he? And then it's fine. And so like you need that tone, and I don't know if you even get that without the madness that is Peter Molyneux, because as much as that man is a walking lie, he did contribute heavily to Fable's overall vibe, and I always adored that. I mentioned Fable because we actually do know that a new Fable game is coming. It was confirmed by Eurogamer and Kotaku. Well, it is apparently already in development. They reckon they've seen it, or seen that it was in development anyway, by Playground Games, who are the Forza Horizon devs. So they've apparently hired to do an open world game, but it'll be their first time on
I
genre.
can see them doing a complete tonal reboot.
Like a gritty.
Yeah, well, not maybe gritty, but maybe just kind of like trying to model it
don't
on,
want that at
like,
all.
almost like the Elder Scrolls potentially, and like they try and really go for all in on one of the things that made Fable good, but not charming.
Bigamy Simulator.
Bigamy Simulator
.com.
2020.
It 100% just needs to be the charming, like, stupid dialogue,
Yes.
doing the doing all the nonsense stuff. Fun fact: the studio that they were hiring for, Leamington Spa. I remember reading that in the rumour thing. That's the fact that has come
What do you
to
mean?
my
What do you mean,
mind.
Leamington Spa?
That's where they're doing it, Leamington Spa.
Okay, because our American viewers will have a clue what you mean
It's
with
in
that.
Leamington Spa,
Is
everyone.
just Leamington Spa have a big spa?
I think it did at one point.
The hard hitting questions.
This is
here
not.
at WhatCulture
I've not been to Leamington Spa, nor do I care. But if that can influence a good game, then
It
maybe
might
that's a
do.
cool
It
thing.
may
If they base it on Leamington Spa, which is a lovely town.
What even is Leamington
The Leamington Spa tourist board got to you. Or something.
I just really like
God.
Leamington Spa. I think it's nice.
It's not to worry. Ewan, what is your next game? And it better not be Leamington Spa.
No.
Leamington Spa Simulator 290.
My next game is Splinter Spa 2020. No, it's Splinter Cell. I want a new Splinter Cell.
If they said that in Leamington Spa, I'm pretty much
Yeah,
in.
okay. But yeah, like you and me both agree that Splinter Cell Blacklist, like, kind
It's
of found-
really good,
It
yes.
got the perfect balance between the kind of more Jason Bourne-y action-oriented nature of Conviction, then also called back to the series roots with like Chaos Theory and Pandora Tomorrow. Obviously, the voice actor was a bit of
A little bit naff.
You had 50-year-old Sam Fisher looking like he was going to the gym, and
It was a weird art, like a weird soft reboot kind of thing. They lost Michael Ironside.
But they
and
did
that's
continue
new
on
man in.
from all of that. And I think there were so many good ideas in Blacklist. And it is such a shame that game didn't perform to the kind of critical response that it ended up getting. I think Spies vs. Mercs would work perfectly again if they were to bring it back. You have a perfect story to continue with, because at the end of the co-op campaign that you played with Briggs, I can't remember.
One of the two.
Tell me in the comments.
Not Kestrel.
You find Kestrel at the end of that. And so you already had the potential to bring a new protagonist back, because obviously Michael Ironside was sadly ill for a while, but he is back. So
That's the thing. They did a bunch of Splinter Cell DLC for Ghost Recon, and Michael Ironside returned to the character for the first time
That
in a long
DLC
time.
really annoyed
It was
me.
bad. The DLC was horrific, but at least Michael Ironside was alive and well and doing the voice. And when he was asked on GameSpot's show, hey, are you going to do more Splinter Cell? He just said, well, I can't confirm that, or whatever. And it's like, well, that maybe means that you can.
It's got a great voice.
Oh, he's got the most razor-throated voice ever. Just,
I'm sorry, that's just me doing Christian Bale there.
it's all within the pool of people. Ash's mic continues to fall apart. Just can't believe the news that a new
not
Splinter Cell
wearing
could-
night vision
Woo,
goggles.
Splinter Cell.
Either way, yes. I mean, it seems like it's long overdue. Splinter
Yes.
Cell used to be one of the biggest selling franchises of the 2000s. Very recognizable, but there's a lot of brand loyalty to that series.
Talking about Rainbow Six Siege as well, because Ubisoft had the perfect model there to not only get a great single-player game out of it, reusing the assets of all the other stuff, which they tend to do, but then you also have the games as a service, Siege-esque formula that you could do with Spies versus Mercs, and people would take it to a competitive streak. Ubisoft have been really good at capitalizing on the esports scene as well. So if they were able to cater to both the single-player, story-driven focus, give Sam Fisher a really good proper send-off with Ironside in the role, and then do all that multiplayer stuff, you have a title that would be built to last. And maybe what they're doing, with knowledge of that in mind, is waiting until the next gen, because obviously they don't don't want to encroach on Siege's success. And, we have the Division 2 coming out as well, which is going to be a games as a service thing too. So maybe those are mitigating factors.
There's a way. What do you guys think of the placement that stealth has overall? Because it used to be this massive thing. It was like Metal Gear, Splinter Cell, Hitman.
It was my favourite thing. It was my gateway into hardcore gaming because I used to love like just normal stuff.
Hardcore.
But like, that was the thing that really challenged me first when I was kind of growing up, and like stealth games used to terrify me when I was little. It was like, you get caught and you die. What? But then like as I kind of got older and discovered the stabby with Chaos Theory, it was a revolutionary experience because I just loved how great it was to be able to ghost around and the satisfaction of like, you didn't know I was here. And like that was dead fun. And obviously I've always kind of liked the Tom Clancy military fiction literature, and that really lends itself well. So Metal Gear Solid 5 as well. That was fantastic.
Phantom Pain 2015. Like Hitman is the most recommendable thing, but it's not where it used to be. I mean, what do you think of like general stealth games?
I like stealth games. I'm not a big fan of military themed games. I don't know what. I think it's just because my whole like thing for fantasy and everything. I like going into a game and it'd be something completely different. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the military games. Like I've played a little bit of all of them. Had a little dabble and stuff. I love sneaking around. I love giving a little knife to someone's throat because that's always a good time.
Have you played Styx?
Styx, I have not.
Styx is like fantasy stealth. He plays a little goblin called Styx, and you just go around just stabbing dudes.
I was going to
might be your
suggest
jam.
Thief as well.
Thief as well.
I played Thief. I really like Thief.
Okay, so there is a way.
That's a bit more. That's a bit more less like, I'm in the military and I'm sneaking around.
Although that 2014
Commando.
reboot was like the most like gritty.
I was going to say something as well.
You had water arrows. What?
The stealth games have gotten too easy recently, and again we can point back to Batman Arkham as being a really easy stealth game.
You can't not mention Batman.
I know I can't, but everything comes back to Arkham. It's all connected.
What makes you
didn't let me bring on my conspiracy board, Scott, so I've got to just gesticulate.
Not on a pod,
mildly.
maybe for a video, maybe for a live stream. You can walk us through it, Mr. Day. But for the
play silver.
For the Arkham stuff, do you think it's the detective mode, the vision mode, that kind of stuff?
There is again, we kind of had this with the difficulty podcast, which you should go watch because it was really good.
Yes,
we kind of talk about the idea of the balance between empowering a player and making them strive for something. And I think stealth games have suffered the most from that evolution to empowering players. I mean, Naughty Dog got it right with The Last of Us. I thought the stealth mechanics there were really good in a linear sense, but no game apart from Hitman and Splinter Cell have really nailed the idea of you have a challenge to get around, and if you want to sneak around and be the sneakiest sneaker in the history of Sneaktown, that you've got to really work for it. Whereas with Arkham, you're kind of given, you are the world's greatest detective. You have a detective mode that sees through everything. You can just go around, and people have the vision of
tunnel vision.
What? I just heard someone get their head. What? And then,
it's very much like Metal Gear if you just made it like a not cone vision but just like a line vision. Whereas The Last of Us, I mean, they did a lot of stuff with like audio stuff. Like you have that listening mode, and you kind of like find your way around that kind of way. I think there is a way to do the Return of Splinter Cell and make it the best premier stealth thing on the market, because Metal Gear ain't coming back anytime soon. No. So yes, Ash, what would your next game be?
Oh, I had the list. What we've talked about, Fly Raccoon. Next one coming up.
You also had Mass Effect.
Yeah, that's what I was. But spoiled it.
Well, I thought you'd forgot, so I was leaping in.
I was working through it.
Well.
But the next one I actually really want to see more of is Mass Effect. Yes.
Good.
Which I feel slightly controversial saying because of the big flippity flop that was Andromeda.
There was a lot of flippity flops in Andromeda.
More than a flop.
That was like the fish. It tried to flop, but it just remained dead on the floor.
The faces as well, just the twitching faces.
Let's just forget that Andromeda ever happened. Let's just it's the Hobbit movies. No, you don't.
I do.
No.
I do. No. Because I feel like I'm so invested in the Mass Effect world and lore and everything that it can't upset me, because I'm like, well, I'm happy I get to go back in there and see everything.
That was my thing, and to be completely honest, I thought Andromeda was like a 3-star kind of game. Like there was enough to pill.
Yeah, it's not terrible. That's the thing. People act like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to gaming. It is not.
It's more like what it means. It's more like how much it dropped the ball. And considering like the end of 3 was already this big mess, it was like they needed something great, and it just is not that at all. But it does play pretty well in terms of the combat. And there's like I like the interaction with the different alien races and stuff. Yeah. Like I like being in that world. But yeah, the current state of it is that EA have put it on ice as far as they said.
Well, actually, they've they have said that. But then on N7 Day in November last year. Yes. November last year for N7 Day, they'd released that video. It was very wholesome. It was like, what does N7 mean to you? It was really lovely.
That's the death of a franchise.
And everyone's wearing all the merchandise that you can buy in the store.
Of course.
But at the end of it, they were like, N7 means coming to work every day and imagining the next great Mass Effect game. Which could be...
We could have covered that.
Well, you could have.
I didn't realise that was a thing.
Well, there we go.
So you've just taken his job.
There you go.
I mean,
So it's
Bye,
not.
Scott.
You've got to play Shovel Knight now.
I will. It's not confirmation, but it is hint enough that they are still thinking about ways to move on and expand with it. But with Andromeda and with Anthem coming out, and that's going to be a big endeavor for them because I've said it's the start of their 10-year journey for something Destiny inspired.
I mean, I'll be amazed if Anthem lands well.
6-month journey.
It's just the fact that they already got ahead of it and said, "Hey, by the way, Dragon Age is also coming," kind of proves that they need something else on the tail end of it.
Dragon Age will be really good. Anthem I feel like it just needs to get out, do its thing, whether it fails or not. I don't know. I've been in your camp with it's going to fail. But
I think it's going to fail. I think it'll sell well. It's clearly not what they're best at.
I'm ready to see it rise from the ashes and be something unexpected and not a Destiny clone. Please don't be a Destiny clone. But then with Dragon Age coming out, I think there's room for Mass Effect to come. Not this year, but I think it's going to come.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna happen. But I would really like to see it.
Well, the fact that like N7, a letter and a number, is known to the vast majority of gamers proves that like Mass Effect is and should be this massively well-regarded thing. It's just that the last time it was on top of the world was Mass Effect 2, and that was like 2008.
But it was so good. That is like a defining game of a generation. They can get away with having a few flippy flops again, and then like come back with something like mega and absolutely drop their big old
fire,
slam it down,
big old Gareth's foot.
Okay, you could have had a Krogan, but you go with Gareth.
Well, he's got like a metal suit on.
He has got a metal suit on. Maybe at some point we will do a Mass Effect podcast because there's clearly a Mass Effect fandom out there that was just I'm in there too. Turians and the Krogans, but clearly there's more to be talked about.
But no, it needs to come out. Needs to.
It does. So my third pick is Burnout. It has been way too long since the arcade racing was a thing at the floor of the industry.
I love how you did that. Just it was like.
Way too long. And so, like, I mean, look at the last year was the Burnout Paradise remaster came out, which I only looked up the sales for this morning, but apparently that topped the UK charts. So that's the only thing EA will care about if they're going to greenlight a full-on Burnout. But if even a remaster could do well, that's usually an industry's way of testing the waters to see if there's interest in a particular property.
I tell you what.
Go on.
Bun Burnout, bring back Crazy Taxi.
No.
Crazy Taxi.
Bring back
I almost swear there, but we can't swear on YouTube. No.
You can't swear. Bun it off.
No.
He's literally, you can see one tear.
You have no idea.
One
you have
vein
no idea.
popping in
Did
that
you guys not play Burnout?
No. I played Paradise because it came with the bundle I had on my 360.
Did you not play Burnout 3 Takedown, the best racing game of all in time?
I played Crazy Taxi a lot.
I actually hate
Crazy
it.
Taxi.
No, did
Would
you
you
not?
like to see Crazy Taxi
I would
back?
like to see
No, no one wants to see Crazy Taxi.
I appreciate Burnout. It's weird because I used to love racing games. And
did you though?
I didn't know. I used to love both Forza.
Right.
And then obviously I got a PS4, so I haven't been there for the Forza Renaissance, which is, amazing.
So good.
And so I had a big obsession with Grid and Dirt, which were like the two. They sound really
worst names.
They sound like a men's body sprays.
They sound so
like
visceral. It's like
strength,
sweat, adrenaline.
A single tear of an ice.
You can use this one bottle to clean everything and de-ice your car. But yeah, no, like both Grid and Dirt.
Yes.
I can never look at those the same way ever again. Now, they were both really good and I loved them, and Codemasters were fantastic, but obviously this is done by
Criterion used to do the old Burnout games.
So
they've been kind of folded into the Need for Speed stuff.
They've been doing some of the vehicle physics for Battlefront as well. So
because they're part of the EA machine,
exactly.
So they sort of get like banded around.
No, I would look for. I just need to find a game that reignites my love for racing.
I tell you the big worry though is that Onrush came out last year, which was Codemasters trying to do an arcade racer, and it's different. They actually did away with laps, and you just race forever until you take enough people out, which is a cool idea.
One guy's been on the track for 60 years, just like, I can do it.
But like, at least they were trying something new, and it just didn't sell. It was terrible. The game was quite solid, but it was immediately on PlayStation Plus within like 2 months or whatever. So I still clearly the sales of Burnout Remastered Paradise kind of prove that if you have the right IP alongside arcade racing, it'll sell. And so I think there's a window for a new Burnout to be announced or something later this year. What?
Crazy Taxi.
No one wants Crazy Taxi.
I do.
Yeah.
What game have you got for your third thing? And it better not be Crazy Taxi.
Like a proper horrid noise
It's
then.
Crazy Bold Bearded Guy number 4, and by that I mean Max Payne 4.
I thought you meant
ran
me.
through like 3 different.
I thought you were just going to insult
then.
me. I'll take random bearded man.
Yeah,
not
because I really
Really?
like noir games. I
Yes.
love noir fiction.
Same.
I love LA noir, which was really good. That would have been my other choice to bring this back, but I didn't want to upset Scott.
Yeah, we're going to talk about good games. So.
Whoa, there it is. There it is.
Okay to be wrong,
well,
you know.
yeah, that's why we have you on.
And then we had Team Bondi basically go under with their awkwardly titled game that was meant to come out at one point,
Oh,
which I'm not going to repeat.
I will.
No, you won't. But then
What else talking about?
Max Payne 4, I think, would be really, really good. Obviously, Max Payne 3 ended the
called Horror of the
series.
Orient.
Max Payne 3 ended things on a really, really good note,
Yeah.
but I think there is plenty more scope to do with that character, and especially the game mechanics. Again, kind of like what you were saying with Bully before and other stuff, I struggle to think how Max Payne 4 would kind of blend into Rockstar's games as a service model.
Yeah.
The multiplayer for Max Payne 3 was a really weird thing, because if everyone hit bullet time at a certain point, they'd all
It all
go
went
into
to slow motion. I like the idea of that. I like the idea of being able to do it. I mean, I like love Max Payne 3, even though it's like the black sheep of the franchise kind of thing. And I think that 1 and 2 obviously like just phenomenal games. If they did 4, I would rather they give it back to Remedy and rather than Rockstar do it again, because I think that Remedy are in a weird place. Like Quantum Break didn't sell very well. Control looks solid enough, but it's not the noir thing that they do best.
I kind of agree, but also I do kind of like what Remedy are doing with their 90s sci-fi cheesy TV show phase they're having. Like, obviously they had Twin Peaks-esque Alan Wake, which I love as well. I'd love to see Alan Wake come back,
Alan Wake
actually.
should come back,
Shout.
definitely.
But
Or at least have a film that like justifies its existence.
yeah.
Like,
Actually, you know what?
rescinding?
Max Payne 4 and Alan Wake.
and Alone
Shout.
in the Dark as well. But just for a film that's good, like there's potential for a really good film.
I think you thought I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, I did. 'Cause I thought you were going to back that.
The
Alone in
new,
Dark's good.
the new Alone, the what?
Which what? Alone in the Dark?
The only experience of Alone in the Dark I have is on the really bad one where
was bad.
you were quick timing through the streets in the car and the city was coming down.
Yeah, that was great.
No, it wasn't great.
I absolutely
Stop
loved
lying
that
to the
game.
people. God.
I think it's now that I realise how bad my taste in games is. You brought up Clone Marines. I thought Alone in the Dark was good. I didn't realise everyone hated it.
You're like me when I grew up and I saw episode 1 with my grandma and loved it. And then you age and you talk to any other human on the planet other than your grandma and they tell you that
They
episode
tell you
1's
your
not
opinions
good.
are wrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I love
I
that Jar Jar,
love
but no, you're not allowed to.
I really
No.
like the prequels as well.
Do you though?
honestly.
Well.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you that you like them.
I like 1. But even then, watching it back, I like the Darth Maul
But yeah,
fight. Doesn't matter.
Max
Carry on.
Payne 4
Yes.
and Alan Wake, both Remedy classics.
Yes.
Not Alone in the Dark.
And you know what?
Alone on the shelf.
Alan isn't
Alan?
ready for his wake yet, so they got to bring him back.
Whoa, there it is.
Save us, Ash. You have 1 more.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I'm just going to say, I don't know if it's 1 word or 2. I think it's 1 word.
It's
but
one
with
word.
a capital letter in the middle.
Yeah.
To signify,
Like GameCube or PlayStation.
Yeah,
Edgy.
to signify that they're 2 separate words. And I'm going to say Time Splitters.
Yeah, Time Splitters is a phenomenal.
Got to
game.
got
split
that one,
that
right?
time.
I don't actually know. I remember looking into a potential Time Splitters 4 for like an article ages ago, and I think there were rumblings that it was going to happen. I don't
was.
even know what the
was.
state of Free Radical is now.
Yeah,
Like,
because
as a
they were
developer.
part of LucasArts for a little bit, weren't they? And then they were part of that whole kind of blub, blub, blub.
Just everything fell
Yeah,
apart. Yeah.
yeah.
I think the thing is something like Time Splitters, like the mere mention of it immediately makes like a certain generation think of Time Splitters 2, like me and Jules, assumedly, or people who are younger who played Future Perfect.
Yeah,
like,
Future
that
Perfect's
tends to be
my
the
one.
split. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like for me, 2 was like I remember the original 2, but 2 was the one that was like the medium shaking. Oh my god, the cutscenes look like Pixar and whatever. Like that, it had such a great identity to it.
Yeah.
And it's like if they bring that back, obviously you have modern technology, you can make the general animation even better. It's just give me little monkeys with guns, all right?
Yeah,
That's just
it
all
would
I
be
need.
such a nice little thing to see. I think it would be perfect to see it in the future.
Yes.
Yeah, who cares about Planet of the Apes when we got Time Splitters? That's all now.
Well, I mean, I don't. There is a Planet of the Apes game which is surprisingly all right, but it's
We're not allowed any trash takes.
it's a choose your.
Like
It's
everyone.
not. No, it's
We're not allowed them.
No, it's not. It's not Evolve, but Planet of the Apes game is a.
God, I'm having like an existential crisis about. I realise who I am. Like,
It is fine. We're all allowed to say the things that we like.
Am I so out of touch? No.
No, the children are wrong.
that's me. Like everyone, you guys are wrong. You
Yes.
guys are wrong.
Okay,
But-
so make that in Photoshop later.
But not to worry. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, if they did decide to bring back a Time Splitters, like I said, I don't know who the developer, Free Radical are available or
Yeah.
whatever. I think you'd have to give it to someone who knew exactly what they were doing, like a Free Radical.
Yeah.
I don't know what other studio could potentially take it. But just the general iconography and the visual identity of that franchise,
Yeah.
there's so much to pick from.
With something like the Borderlands people,
Yes.
I think that sort of style could work really well for it. And
Oh,
that
2K.
sort of like
Gearbox.
Gearbox are,
push behind it. Yeah.
Gearbox have apparently got Borderlands 3 as their next thing.
That's been announced unofficially
Since
for
before
like
you were
5 years. Yeah, since before I was born, actually. Yeah, like 1990s. Yeah,
It is way too long.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them. They should have had that announced ages ago.
Well, there's a whole different thing, but Randy Pitchford's embroiled in a massive lawsuit at the minute, so that's probably delaying things even further.
I saw that the other day.
Yeah,
awkward.
let's not go into that at the minute, but it is a bit of a thing. But yeah, in terms of 2K and Gearbox, it seems like they're focused on attempting to finally do Borderlands 3, and that was meant to be announced at the last E3, the E3 before that. It's always like a dead certain, it never comes. But yeah, I would love to see more Time Splitters personally as well. That franchise was delicious. Either way, let us know what you think down in the comments below if you're following the video version, or you can find us on social media if you're listening to the audio one. This has been the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. I've been your host, Scott Tailford, joined by Ewan.
Bye-bye.
And joined by Ash.
Goodbye.
And catch you guys next time. Bye.